All right, I am very, very, very late to this if you start to count the years. I think the Frostbite sniper came out 3 years ago, but that's besides the point. I never covered the Frostbite sniper, or the Dragonfly for that matter, because the semi-auto snipers in Save the World are terrible. I'm also late to this video because as I'm recording this, about a week ago, the Frostnite Weekly Challenge, Top It Off, came around to give us this epic weapon, and it is, well, as you can see, a sniper in Fortnite Save the World. If you don't know what that means, snipers in any game ever essentially excel at long range, high accurate damage where you can do lots of single target damage to, well, a single target. And in Fortnite Save the World, you'll see in pretty much every situation where I shoot a crowd of enemies, they end up swarming me and it becomes a close quarters situation very quickly. And sometimes you can get around that. There needs to be like certain factors for a sniper. Either it needs to do a ton of damage straight up to a single target, which makes it like a mist monster or smasher or mini boss killer, or maybe you can use it for like the crystals and the Storm King. The Frostbite can do none of that. It's more of a semi-auto DMR with a scope, meaning it's more like an assault weapon that can shoot a bunch of bullets single target, but it also doesn't do like that much damage at all. In fact, in game, I think I was only doing about 80 or 90,000 damage to the head, and then crits could account for that more often. I don't typically recommend crit builds on a sniper, but I mean, we'll get into the perks later, but this weapon, like I'm showing, shoots more like a DMR rather than an actual sniper. So okay, it doesn't have high single target damage. You are locked to a scope, which I've always personally preferred. If I'm using a sniper on a single target at a distance, I like to aim for the head, and a scope helps me a lot with that. But because you're constantly getting swarmed, and because this thing isn't really doing serious single target damage per bullet, your scope kind of just tunnel visions you and actually makes crowd clearing close up kind of more difficult. Now, none of that even really matters considering the Frostbite also doesn't have another thing that you need. If you're going to get swarmed by enemies and you need to take out a lot of them all at once, area of effect damage is very important. We see this exceptionally well with the Nocturno and the Storm King's Scourge. Both of these weapons can just eliminate huge crowds of enemies. I'm aware that those are assault weapons, but what I'm saying is you need that as well. Some snipers can get away with like the headshots cause an explosion, but that 6 perk is honestly not why we're here. Let me roll a clip I recorded prior to making this video. Alright, so I'm being told that the Frostbite sniper has a new 6 perk and people want me to try it out. I cannot believe I am core reperking this for you guys. You better subscribe to this video, alright? So yeah, I went ahead and actually core reperked my Frostbite. I don't know why I did that. I don't even think it's worth it. As you can see, you can't even get the headshots cause an explosion. It's one of those things where people kept leaving me these comments saying, oh, Beast, maybe the 44% made the Frostbite good. Maybe it's worth it now. I am here to tell you no, it is. In fact, I'll roll a clip from, you can see it on screen now from later on in my recording where, yeah, I mean, honestly, that 44% against a Fire Smasher helped a good amount. That definitely did some extra damage. 44% to be, well, not technically, I'm not getting into that. You know what? I always say I won't get into it, but this is a video. This is not this is one of my edited videos, which I haven't posted in a while. 44% is being stacked on top of the 30% damage perk, on top of the 20% damage perk, and I'll even show my loadout if I didn't already, or I'll be reiterating. I have the Redline Ramirez here, so that's on top of the 17%. So all of that gets lumped together on top of the base weapon damage that this sniper was already outputting. So when all of that comes together, it's actually not 44%. I don't have the exact number because it's frankly not worth calculating. It's just good to have these perks. It does do significantly more, just not literally exactly 44%. All right, okay? If that helps you guys, it's kind of a harsh thing to learn. I did the math on the extra damage perk for a lot of SMGs in the game, and once all was told, once you shot an enemy in game and actually recorded the numbers, wrote them down, and did the math, a damage perk on like a Silent Spectre, for example, was only giving like 15% more real world damage. It's kind of an important thing to know. But in this case, I figured, all right, I'll try out this 6 perk. It'll make a funny video. I've always said that the Frostbite was bad, but in cynical terms, if you want to get real specific, technically, no, I have never used this weapon prior to today. But honestly, I never did that because everybody who had tried the weapon told me, nah, Beast, it's not worth your time, and I'm here to join that club. So let's get into the perks that we've been staring at. It's pretty obvious. First and foremost, you need a reload perk. I mean, it's already pretty okay at 1.5, but without it, it's fairly slow. And damage is recommended because, you know, another reload perk isn't something you need. And a crit build was interesting. Typically on snipers, I prefer like headshot or double headshot, and I stand by that. But what I'm thinking about when I recommend headshot, let me favorite this so I can get back to it later, is basically a weapon like the old Betsy, where this weapon hits incredibly hard. Instead of 80,000 on a headshot, it's more like 470,000, as you can see. I run this thing physical because it was way back in the day when I used this. I use these snipers as mist monster killers. I'll link my Spyglass video down below if you guys want to see some gameplay of me hitting some headshots. I was having a good time recording that one. Old Betsy and the Spyglass are the exact same weapon, by the way. And the mist monsters that you would headshot, you know, like the Takers and the Zappy Faces, both of them to this day cannot be elemental. They are always physical, so you want to run physical on those snipers. The Frostbite, however, does not have one shot. It has 10 in the magazine, and its damage reflects that, and its perk is locked to water. So I was actually quite lucky to get a fire mission today so I could record some gameplay for you guys, and you can't even run double headshot on this anyway, and I wouldn't even recommend it. You're shooting fast enough to justify a crit build. I never recommend that for snipers or any weapon unless you are fast firing, and double damage would also work, but I think what would also work best for everybody watching this is to recycle this schematic right away. One thing that I could not stop thinking about when recording the gameplay for this, when I was talking to the stream, was all of these close quarter combats, all of these situations where these enemies are running at me. A shotgun would be doing so much better. Not only would a shotgun be doing more damage, but it'd be better at spray and pray. I wouldn't have a scope tunnel visioning me in. It would be reloading at a nice speed. It would work. Okay, it would work so much better. And it's kind of funny that a sniper's being compared to a shotgun here, but we're playing Save the World here, you guys. There are very few situations where you'll ever need or even utilize a sniper as a player. One thing you could do is hand a sniper off to a defender, but then the obliterator exists, and that is way better for snipers. I understand that just because the obliterator exists doesn't mean we should, you know, pretend that the Frostbite's comparable to it, but when that's a better option in every way, that is what you should be handing your defenders. The Frostbite is not it, man. And not to mention, I think this is a funny point. This won't work in the future if you guys are watching this later on, but as I'm recording this, we are in the winter season where ice storms are everywhere. So that extra 44% to fire enemies, which nobody should Corey perk anyway, isn't even applicable. Like I said a little bit earlier, I got lucky that I even had a firestorm to test in. If this mission wasn't available, this video would have been delayed, because without that extra 44% to fire enemies, I don't even know what to talk about. But there you go. There's the Frostbite. There is exactly why it is a bad weapon. If you guys ever wanted a longer form video on specifically why it's a bad weapon and why I specifically don't get into it whenever I brush across this weapon, now you know why. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to use code Mista at your checkout, I really appreciate it. These videos take a good amount of work, even when it's just a rant. I stream on Twitch, link down below, and I'll see you guys next time. And then